mynews.studio.
Picture this. On a humid morning in rural India, millions woke up not weighed down by poverty, but looking at new possibilities. How did such a big change even come about?
Today is June 20th, 2025. Let's ground ourselves in the facts first. From 2005 to 2021, India managed to lift 415 million people out of multidimensional poverty. So we're not just talking about income here, right?
Right, it's much more than just money. Multidimensional poverty takes into account health, education, and how people live day to day. It's measured using the Multidimensional Poverty Index, or MPI. Back in 2005, more than half of India, 55.1%, were considered poor by this index. By 2021, that figure dropped to 16.4%. That's a fall of almost 40 percentage points in just 15 years.
That's huge. One of the fastest drops we've seen anywhere. So what actually changed on the ground? Was it just a booming economy, or were there specific policies involved?
It was both, really. On one hand, the economy grew. On the other, there were targeted government programs. For example, MGNREGA provided guaranteed rural employment, which narrowed the poverty gap in villages. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, India's sanitation campaign, brought in more toilets, which matters because sanitation is a key part of MPI. Health initiatives like the National Rural Health Mission brought healthcare to places that had never seen it before. Over time, you see better access, clean toilets, electricity, cleaner cooking fuel, and more children in school. You see better access, clean toilets, electricity, cleaner cooking fuel, and more children in school.
Did every part of India move forward at the same pace, or were some regions quicker to improve?
Actually, the greatest improvements happened among the poorest and most disadvantaged groups. Rural poverty, for example, dropped from 32.6% to 19.3% between 2015 and 2021. Urban poverty also fell, from 8.7% to 5.3%. The sharpest progress was among children, lower castes, and residents of the poorest states.
And what about safety nets? Did employment schemes like MGNREGA really make a difference for families?
Yes, they did. MGNREGA meant steady income during dry seasons, which helped families stay afloat. That kind of financial stability also allowed children to stay in school longer, so education indicators improved. Direct benefit transfers and expanded food security programs made sure assistance reached those who needed it most.
Let's zoom out for a second. Was this just about growth lifting all boats, or did some groups benefit more?
The growth was actually broad-based. Job creation went up and more women entered the workforce. Infrastructure investments, think roads, electricity, digital access, helped close gaps between rural and urban areas. All 12 MPI indicators improved, not just one or two, so the progress was spread out across health, education, and living standards.
But that's not the end of the story, is it? What problems are still on the table?
Right, challenges remain. As of 2022-23, about 11.3% of Indians still live in multidimensional poverty. Most are in states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and Madhya Pradesh. These places still need better rural infrastructure, higher quality education, and improved healthcare. There's also a push for digital inclusion and stronger safety nets to stop people from slipping back into poverty.
How do decision makers track if these new efforts are working? Is income still the main thing, or does MPI stay central?
MPI is still at the core. It lets policymakers see where deprivation is shrinking and where progress is slow. That way, they can adjust programs as needed. There's also a new focus on resilience, making sure gains aren't lost if there's a natural disaster or an economic shock.
So India's story is about more than numbers. What does it mean for the rest of the world?
It's really a blueprint. India proves that large-scale poverty reduction is possible with coordinated effort, targeted policies, inclusive growth, and steady investment in people. With the world aiming for the UN Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, India's example gives hope and a practical path.
So can other countries borrow this approach, or is India's situation unique?
That's the big question policymakers are wrestling with. The methods, broad-based growth, targeted interventions, and constant tracking can be applied elsewhere, though the exact approach will differ depending on each country's context.
All right, let's sum up. 415 million people moved out of multidimensional poverty, thanks to targeted programs, economic growth, and a focus on those most in need. But there's still work to do, and the world is paying attention.
That's the journey. A huge transformation, real challenges ahead, and lessons that go far beyond India. We appreciate you joining us.
This episode is brought to you by mynews.studio. Give it a try for free.